Welcome to another edition of the Rural Reflections Call and Dave podcast, co-hosted by my brother Dave Nelson in Carrington, North Dakota, and me, Grant Nelson, here at the studios of Thief River Falls Radio. Before we talk to Dave, let's go through the ag headlines. The USDA has announced a new pilot program that enables farmers in the prairie pothole region to receive payments for planting cover crops on their land for 3 to 5 years. The new Conservation Reserve Program, Soil Health and Income Protection Program, called SHIP, is a pilot available to producers in Iowa, Minnesota, Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. Sign up for this pilot program. Starts March 30th, ends August 21st. The U.S. Agriculture Department will make available up to $100 million in grants to expand the infrastructure needed to sell more ethanol, biodiesel, and other renewable fuels, the agency announced on Friday. And finally, the AFS Advanced Farming Systems Connect technology from Case IH is now available on the company's largest line of tractors, the Steiger series. This high-tech, high-horsepower family of tractors was introduced at the 2020 Commodity Classic in San Antonio, Texas. Well, if we want to talk about Case IH AFS right here. Hello, Dave Nelson. How are you doing today?
Hi, Grant. I'm doing good. It's a beautiful day here today, so I'm doing real well.
We started off with some fog, but it got lots of sunshine now. It feels fantastic. Now, during our ag headlines, we talked a little bit about the release of AFS for Case IH to the Steiger line. And I asked you about it before we got on the air, and you said you had just been to training for AFS. Can you just tell us a little bit about the AFS agricultural, what is it called?
It's called AFS Connect.
Okay.
And it's if you're a Ram pickup owner or that, they have what's called Uconnect in there.
Okay.
And so it's a connection from the tractor via cell phone modem to all kinds of other options. The AFS Connect is being released in stages. Started out in the Magnum tractor, the two-wheel drive and or MFD with tracks and those. And now the next stage is to put it into the Steiger tractors. And basically, it's a well-upgraded electronic system that allows connection between tractors for sharing data, allows RTK signal to come in from different sources, allows inputs from an implement to control the depth of the implement via GPS, and allows connection to the machine from a service office at a dealer's to make repairs and software upgrades on a tractor that's running and working in the field. So it's another step closer to autonomous tractors.
You know what it sounds like to me, Dave? It sounds like it's more than just a couple of features. It sounds like it's almost a virtual world they're creating of different services and tools to be used out in the field.
Well, yes, and it is. You know, the new tractor cab now has basically a mouse on the armrest that you use on your screen to move between different things that you need to do on the screen. You don't necessarily have to touch the screen. I believe there's probably 30 power sources in the cab, and there's 120 volt in the cab. There's USB all over the place. There's 12 volt power all over the place. It's quite an electronic conglomeration, I guess. You can have, if you put your cell phone on the cell phone display, you can have four displays in there. An iPad, the tractor's 1200 display, the actual instrument cluster display, all at the touch of your arm. And just reach out and change something on it if you have to, but you can also use the joystick control on the armrest of the tractor too.
It sounds like about 4 times the technology that most houses have, which is probably right because it's probably 4 times as expensive as most mortgages, wouldn't you say?
Well, it's probably close. If you get a 620 horse, you're looking at 600 and something thousand list price on it. So
I like all the technology, but sometimes I need to just simplify things, and sometimes my brain needs to play a little bit. And that's where I like toy tractors. I know this Christmas I was out doing a remote for the radio station, and I found out that the toy tractors were at half price, and I could barely contain myself. What is it that's so special about toy tractors, Dave?
Well, I think a lot of it is, of course, every little kid has had a toy tractor, it seems like. And then as you use them on the farm and stuff, you have fond memories of the tractors that you actually worked in the field with, and probably even have some toys. And then when you're old enough to afford all of them, you start building shelves and buying toy tractors and having rooms full of toy tractors and stuff. So I think it's just the familiarity with them from either your childhood on up or when you start farming and on up and so on. It's fun to see those particular tractors, because you do get somewhat of an affection for some tractors. You probably hate some of them too, but some tractors are things that made you living with and treated you right, and you treated them right. And they got a fond spot in your heart,
For sure. Do you have any particular scale of toy tractors you like?
Well, the pedal tractors is kind of the thing that I like more than anything. Our kids had pedal tractors, and our grandkids have pedal tractors, and the one pedal tractor that I would like to get is kind of out of my reach always, because if you find one, they're $1,000, and it's the 450 International. That I like them, but they're kind of hard to find. And for some reason, they don't make a replica of them. They've made replicas of the M's and, all those over the years. But the 450, nothing. No second generation of them. It's only the original ones that were made in the time period that they were built in the mid-50s.
I like the pedal tractors too, and I like going to the fair because they have the pedal tractor pulling. And that's really interesting. They have little kids doing pedal tractor pulls, and they've got the big drag behind them where the weight moves forward as they move along. Have you ever seen those? I
have, yes. Now, is this the motorized pedal tractors or the kid-powered?
The kid-powered ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, and those sleds are cute, just a kind of a replica of the big ones that they use. There's a kit for these pedal tractors where you can put a chainsaw motor on them and power drive the rear wheels and turn them into a legitimate pulling machine too.
Boy, you got my wheels turning now.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool. I mean, they put a exterior frame, exoskeleton, or whatever you want to call it, around the outside of the machine that has this drive mechanism and the chainsaw motor in it, and they look just like the big pullers, except they don't quite have the power, but they really do pull, and that's a cool thing. I always thought that would be fun to just build one of those up, even though you'd never be able to ride one, but be fun to put one together.
So do they have kids riding them, or do they have adults that ride?
Yeah, no, they're for the children of the real tractor pullers who need something more than a pedal-driven tractor.
Yeah.
They got to have that horsepower too.
Well, we'll have to build one up, and then we'll have to get one of your grandsons to drive it for us. We'll get corporate sponsorship and everything. We'll have a race suit for him and everything.
Oh, man, yeah, that would be something.
Wouldn't that be fun?
My grandkids are almost getting too big for them now.
I suppose.
So.
Well, that's good stuff. You got anything else for us this week, Dave?
I guess not. I'm just going to have another normal week. We're approaching done with some of the harvest out here, so maybe it'll be a little more like spring instead of like winter harvest.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. All right. Well, we'll talk to you next week, Dave. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you, Grant.
Yep. Bye-bye. There he is, my brother Dave, on our Rural Reflections Calling Dave podcast here at Thief River Falls Radio.